was a wild one. Honestly, so far, I would say both of these episodes have been like a 5-star. Like, so much is happening, so much plot, so many new characters that you didn't expect to like be as huge as they are. Like, this is wild. And now we have episode 3.
Yeah, I'd say this episode calms down a little bit since we had like 2 very like plot heavy episodes.
Yeah, but it is nice like to have like a little bit of a breath and just like, okay, let's think about this. Peacetime is over. We know we are at war. How are we going to go forward?
Because in the last episode, like, Rhaenyra and Daemon got in a big fight because, you know, Daemon led to a child being killed, and then Rhaenyra's being blamed for that. So he's heading out to the Riverlands where the fighting is already kind of, like, picking up. And he takes over the biggest castle there, which I think is Harrenhal.
It's, like, haunted, right? Like...
Yeah. Yeah, and
oh my god!
I think even in Game of Thrones, like, Bran is there for a little while, and they talk about like how it's haunted and how like all these like crazy things have happened like at that castle.
Yeah,
yeah. So he's there. He has a dragon, and like Harrenhal had also been like burnt down, and like Rhaenyra's like original lover and like his dad were like killed in that fire.
Oh, you're right. Oh wow. Yeah. That castle has seen a lot of things.
Oh yeah. That castle it's cursed. It's absolutely cursed. But Daemon's able to take it over like very easily, and they're pretty much going to has a dragon.
That seems so funny. Like he's like, oh okay, yeah, you got it. Do you want some food?
Right, exactly. He's like, sorry, like, this isn't, like, great food, and also, like, it's not your colors, it's green peas, so we're sorry about that as well. We'll serve something black next time.
There's like a meme that's like going around with the picture of that guy just like on his knees, just like, if I send you this means I give up. Like, oh my gosh, that's so funny because Daemon is ready to like battle. He's like skulking around Harrenhal, like ready to like knife somebody or have it set on fire, and then it's just like, come join us because we give up.
Yeah, they're like, we surrender. We can't fight a dragon. Like, this castle is like practically burnt to the ground. Sure, it's the
like,
biggest castle in the Riverlands. I think it might have been the biggest castle in Westeros at that time, but like, they're like, it's mostly like dead. Sure, you can host your armies here. We don't care. Just don't kill us.
Which is kind of like deflating for Daemon because he's just so like, I mean, the fact that he even didn't really tell Rhaenyra, he just stormed off and like went to go do this. And for him to like have such an easy capture in her name, I feel like he's extremely disappointed and also pissed. And he's like, you need to build this castle back up. Like, it's the biggest, baddest castle with all the history. Like, you gotta like, we can't have losers on our side. We really can't. Like, that's what it felt like. They're not going to be helpful at all. Oh my gosh. And this is wild too because Rhaenyra's kind of just like covering for Daemon back home and just like, you know what, he might be back, he might not be back, but you guys still have to listen to me and figure it out.
She's like, I don't know, he's crazy. Like he'll do whatever. Maybe he'll show up. We don't know.
Yeah, at this point, I feel like Team Green and Black are kind of at the same, like, confusion because back in Team Green in the King's Landing, Aegon's declared war. He wants to, like, fly off and, like, murder everybody. But then Kristen Cole is like, okay, I fucked up with the whole twin thing. I don't want to be... Although, wait, is this when Aegon declares Cole his new hand because he's just tired of Otto? Which is weird. But I guess because Aegon's very much like not seeing ahead, he's just like, well, at least like Kristen Cole did something. What have you done, Otto? Like, you made me parade my kid in the streets. Like, what have you done? And like, but you're not thinking long game. Like, this is why Aegon's not going to be. I feel, now you probably know from the books, but I feel like Aegon's going to get killed pretty soon. I just feel like he's moving stupid. He's making all these rash decisions. The fact that he declared Cole as hand, and then Cole was like, okay, can I leave now? I don't want to be here anymore. Let me take a bunch of my knights and like go find allies. Like, what? You're supposed to be his hand, his right hand man, and now you're abandoning King's Landing because what? You can't take the pressure?
Yeah, just
This is
lots
wild.
of not good decisions on both sides.
Like it's wow. It's amazing that they have all like remained royalty at this point. Because honestly, if the people knew, they could see how easy and weak these people are on both sides. The only thing that's stopping the townspeople from taking over is the dragons at this point.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, and then also in this episode, Rhaenyra is looking at sending away her youngest children for their protection. And we also see a chest of dragon eggs that very much look like Daenerys's dragon eggs in Game of Thrones.
That was so exciting.
So I was like, that's exciting. Yeah, and then at the very end of the episode, Rhaenyra decides, like, I think I can stop this war if I just talk to Alicent. Which okay, you can believe that, but things are already way too far in motion for anything to be stopped. So she goes in disguise. She sneaks into King's Landing.
Yeah. But who's that guy? Has he been here this whole time? Is he like a knight of Rhaenyra's or?
I think he was one of the Kingsguard, but I didn't particularly, or I guess Queensguard, but I didn't particularly recognize him.
I feel like I don't know. It was interesting how she felt so safe to just go with one guard and like, I'm not going to get killed. I mean, even if your hair is covered, you're still fair skinned and like the eyes. I don't know. If this was reality, I feel like she would have been spied right away and assassinated right then and there. But yeah, this is House of Dragons, so.
Yeah, I think they tried to explain it away as like, oh, like people usually, unless they're highborn, like they don't pay attention to women. But I'm like, yeah, compared to, I don't know. I was like, if this was like in the real world at that time period, like nobility got sick too, so their faces would be like messed up with pock marks and stuff too, and they just had like more access to makeup.
Yeah. But this is
yeah.
also where Miss Mysaria from last episode, now she's like the actual whispers person. She's smart to tell Rhaenyra, you know what? There is a way you can get Alicent alone. And it's this this prayer, like she goes to church for prayer or something.
Yeah, the sept.
She goes alone to prayer at the Great Sept. Yep. There you go. Which is like, okay, again, this is my character. Like I would know where this Alicent is and when you can get her alone. Like I would know her schedule like that.
I love that. But yeah, fantastic. Of course, like establishing peace there does not work, but something that Rhaenyra learns is that Alicent misinterpreted. So what Alicent thought when King Viserys died was she thought that he was naming Aegon as his heir on his deathbed, but really he was talking about a prophecy that had to do with Aegon the Conqueror, and that eventually there will be like some prince that comes that we still don't know in the Game of Thrones books who that is, whether that's going to be Daenerys or if it's Jon Snow or if it's someone else. It could be Daenerys' half-brother, since like that's a person in the show that's cut out of the books. But anyways, so
I screamed at this part. I was just like, Viserys was literally, one, I think Viserys thought he was still talking to Rhaenyra on his deathbed. And two, he was just talking about the Song of Ice and Fire. And I screamed at this point. I was out when Alicent's face dropped. She was like, the Conqueror? Like, I was like,
Yeah, it's like I get she wants her kid to be in power, but it's like Aegon 2 is just he's not king material.
He's
I
the
mean,
worst.
honestly, if
And
they
I
made his younger brother king, like at least he acts like a king, like he is still very impulsive, but would be a better choice for the throne, honestly.
he's he's terrifying.
He
I
is terrifying.
he's
Everyone would
like
be in line in
yeah,
his
everyone will
eye
be in
patch.
line or dead. He's more terrifying than Damon, honestly. I feel like he just has a taste for blood and
Him
like
and Damon are very similar characters, and
yeah, you're right, yeah.
like spoiler alert, if the show follows the books, like they're gonna
Oh.
fight each other.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah,
That would make sense though, because I feel like eventually these two teams are gonna like fight or like something. Because even going back to when Sir Kristen Cole is going out to like find allies, um, what Queen Rhaenys's daughter? No, Daemon's daughter actually. She's like flying on a dragon. She almost like lights them all on fire, which includes like Alicent's brother, who I feel like I've never seen him before, but apparently he was he in Game of Thrones?
no, I also don't remember him being in season 1, but it would make sense since he would be heir to, oh gosh, where are the high towers from? Old Town. So he'd
Old
be
Town.
heir to that area. So he's probably, I would guess, like living there and doing like his own thing.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but I was like, I don't remember seeing him or having him mentioned in season 1. He might have been, but I don't remember him.
Yeah, he also comes across very smarmy. Like, why are you like Kristen Cole wants him to die? I feel like he's like,
Oh, everyone wants Kristen Cole to die.
oh yeah, but like I think Kristen Cole wants Allison's brother to die because I feel I don't know, maybe Cole thinks like because I think the brother sees how close him and Allison are. You know, when he was asking for her hanky or something or favor before he
Yeah.
goes, and he's like he's clocking it. You know,
Oh yeah, yeah.
yeah.
He's drawn the lines between the dots. Like he gets what's going on.
Very much so. But I thought it was hilarious how what's her name? Damon's daughter.
Oh
Uh
gosh, I can't remember what his two daughters' names are off the top of my head.
this is horrible because she had such a great like scene of just like because Rhaenyra had told him like, you know, if you see anybody, don't engage, just spy. And like she had them running for their lives. That was
And
pretty
she's like,
badass.
I promise I didn't engage.
I didn't do much. Like, yes. Oh my gosh. And but that also does put Allison's brother in his place with Cole because Kristen Cole saves his life. So interesting minor subplot there, you know. Like,
Yeah.
okay, so CC knows what he's doing. Um, and I guess he's getting his allies to actually trust him, you know, after saving their lives. But also Rhaenyra is making moves, even though they're like kind of slow and not as like powerful as Aegon's side. Yeah, Rhaenyra is like growing on me. I very much like how she moves and ignores her counsel and but makes good decisions. She actually I feel like Rhaenyra and Otto Hightower are kind of at the same level, you know?
Yeah, if those two were on the same side, like they would win together.
Oh,
But
yeah.
they are on opposite sides, so
Yeah, very much so. But also, like, what happens to Otto? Is he just like gonna hang out in King's Landing now that he's no longer the Hand?
that's
Or
a good question. I feel like he's going to try to get back in power since I think he's been the king's hand for Aegon, Viserys, and I want to say also Viserys's dad as well, since I think it was that he's been
wow,
hand to three kings. Um, but so he'll try to get back in power.
it's only a
Also,
matter of time.
yeah, I would think he has to because there's like no way that like things will actually get done on the green side without Otto Hightower.
I mean, we've seen what happens without Otto's approval, and it's just it goes to shit. Like
Yeah.
madness. There was no need for the twins to die, actually. And it didn't really further anything except I guess it kind of shook Rhaenyra. Like, okay, I need to figure out what's going on under my own nose. But yeah, Otto's the smartest. Oh, but there's that other guy, the Master of Whispers.
Yeah, I always
He's
forget
now,
his
yeah,
name. But yeah, he's now. Oh yeah, yeah, he will
he's getting into
definitely.
Aegon's ear now.
Yeah, he'll be a big part of it. Really, I think he's going to take on more of the position of hand than Kristen Cole really is, even though technically he's Master of Whispers.
Well, yeah,
So
because Cece just ran away, so he's
yeah,
in all for all intents and purposes, Cece is no longer the hand. Like
right, exactly.
you're not in the
Yeah.
castle. You're not gonna have any pull over Aegon anymore. So I just realized we kind of skipped over the whole. I think it was like what was it last episode when those knights families, the Blackwoods and whatever, were fighting each other. Was that season episode 2?
I think that was the beginning of episode 2. Yeah, that they kick it off pretty much by showing
Yeah.
that like two families in the Highlands, so that's like or Riverlands. So that's or wait, was it I can't remember if it was in Tully territory or Martell territory. I think it was Tully. I guess that doesn't really matter. Somewhere in the middle of Westeros,
Yes.
families are already declaring sides and fighting on either side. So we had like first blood there, which is pretty much why Daemon ends up flying off to the Riverlands because that's where the fighting has already started.
Right. Do you think like I mean, they're all dead. They all didn't look very strong in general. But it's like, do you? I guess that is why Damon's like, okay, I need to get out there and like actually get allies because otherwise, they're kind of showing that they need to be ruled because otherwise they're just going to do this stupid stuff and just like kill each other, and then we have nobody to fight for us. Do you think Aegon realizes? I don't know.
I don't think Aegon
Team
realizes anything at any time.
I don't either because I was trying to give him benefit of the doubt. Like, well, he's the king. Maybe he realizes that he actually needs his subjects to help. But no, never
To be
mind.
fair to Aegon, he did try when that one blacksmith came up, or shepherd or whatever, and was pretty much like, or actually, I think it was two instances. One was like a shepherd said like, "Hey, like dragons are eating our sheep. Can we get
Yeah.
some money for this?" And he was like, "Yeah, sure." And then Otto Hightower's like, "That isn't wise. Like, let's not do that."
No, we
And
need to
then
feed our dragons. Like, dude. Yeah.
right, exactly. So it's sad in that, at least in that case, Aeon was trying to do the right thing, but just isn't allowed to slash doesn't know how. I mean, Aegon's still a little shit, but like
Yeah.
sometimes he tries.
Sometimes, although I feel like yeah, at that point, I think he just really wanted admirers and like for him to be doing the right thing and like he's the nice king. I think at that point, I don't think there was any strategy behind that, and I think he really does just likes to be admired and revered because even when um he basically has new knights come in after the twins are killed and basically he's like we gotta take you out of town to to lose your virginity or something, and he's just like, oh, like free beers for everyone on behalf of the king and everything. Like he just likes to be the popular kid, but also the bully, which is also what we see with his brother when we find his brother. The first crazy nude scene of the season, like. Forgot about that because Game of Thrones, there was a lot of like dicks and boobs everywhere. So
Yeah.
that was a nice little shocker.
Yeah, I feel like in House of Dragon there's been like so much plot stuff going on, and overall I think their seasons are shorter than Game of Thrones as well, so they're like, okay, we gotta focus on the plot stuff and violence. Gotta have the violence. That's like
right. But they kind of eventually they throw it back to like old school. Yeah, let's just be in a brothel and we got, dicks just flopping out everywhere and we're going to humiliate the brother because Aegon can't help but put his brother down, which kind of makes you think back to season 1 where like it's really Aegon who kind of started the whole like fight with the cousins, Rhaenyra's kids, and like was pushing his brother to like bully them and like, you know, the whole thing before the eye accident happened. So it's like if you think about
Right.
it, Aegon's been stupid, yes, since childhood, but also he just continues to push the plot in the wrong direction. Like it's wild just thinking about that. He hasn't changed at at all. He just has more power
Yep.
accidentally. Like, oh my gosh. Um but yeah, I find it wild that we're at this spot. Queen Rhaenys also, I would say, has the best takeaway because she talks to Rhaenyra and says, "We're at the point where no one remembers like why this like war began. Like, who did it start with? Did it start?" And then Rhaenyra's like, "Oh, it started when they took my throne." It's like, did it, or was it when Jacaerys was killed, or was it when Alicent married your father, or like it's wild how at this point the men are just gonna fight and blood's gonna be spilled and nobody's gonna know why, which relates back to the whole like Blackwoods and um the other people fighting against each other, which is
Right.
wild.
Yeah. It's like things are now spiraling out of control. There is going to be a war, like, no matter what they do.
Yeah. And honestly, I don't even know if like there's gonna be a clear winner at the end. I mean, you probably know because you have the books, but predictions. I would love to know your predictions on, or one, like, who do you think is in the lead right now? Team Green with Allison and Aegon and Otto, or
Ooh.
Team Black with Rhaenyra and Daemon, and their new Mistress of Whispers? Like,
Yeah, that's actually a really good question. I am going to say, even though the Greens, I would say, had starting out the better standing to win in that, like, they had King's Landing, they have a king crown, they have, like, more people on their side. Now I would say the Blacks are making the right choices in that, like, and they have Rhaenyra behaving smartly, like understanding like the situation. They have Daemon, who is now gone to the Riverlands and has claimed Harrenhal, so they have that strategic standing there. So it definitely looks like things are starting to go in the Blacks' favor, at least I would say.
yeah, I would agree. It's just a lot. I mean, it's messy on both ends, but there's a lot more clear strategy and like team building on the Team Black side than Team Green. Team Green is kind of just winging it and getting lucky at this point. But there's so many people within Team Green who have lost power and control of the plot that it's like Team Black is just stronger. And they say, was it the turtle's really the one who wins the race, or the one who takes it slow and steady is the one who builds up versus the one who's just like insane and crazy and impulsive. Because Team Black is going to burn out. Like, they're going to get more of their people killed, like, no doubt. So, yeah, interesting. I also have another prediction question for the next 3 episodes, at least. Who do you think is going to get killed next?
Oh gosh, I'm trying to remember who really. I would say a lot of the main players, those who do die, don't end up dying until later in the conflict. Oh, actually, no, I've just remembered, like, there's some.
But it also might be different from the books, though. But yeah, go
That's
ahead.
true. That's true. Let's see. No, that would be a pretty big spoiler. I can think of, like, um, let's just say I predict Rhaenyra in the next few episodes is going to be very sad.
Rhaenyra, okay. Rhaenyra has already been sad, though. We got sad Rhaenyra already. I'm tired of sad Rhaenyra. Like, she's literally cut off her feelings of motherhood at this point. She sent her babies away. She can't, like, have emotions anymore because she's just forever doomed. But, like, no. Oh my God. It's not Daemon. No.
And Daemon sticks around for a while.
Oh God. I would be upset.
Just for the sake of the plot and the sake of drama, we like need Daemon for a while.
We do. The actor alone is amazing, but like we need Daemon's crazy. Like, oh wow. Okay. I don't like that prediction, but I'm gonna keep watching. I feel like for me, honestly, Aegon's gotta go. Aegon's gotta go. I feel like he's made so many stupid decisions. I feel like he will eventually hop on his dragon and go to war and immediately be killed because he has no training. He's left the safety of King's Landing. Kristen Cole is pretty much kind of fed up with him at this point because if he can't get Alicent, he really doesn't care about Aegon at all. Aegon's just like a cloak for him to get some Alicent on the side. So if Aegon was gone, that would leave Kristen Cole clear access to Alicent. Who becomes king if Aegon's dead, though?
Oh, so that would be... Yeah, there isn't a clear line of succession, at least in the show right now. Or since his son
Helena
is dead. Oh, so it would probably be Aemond would his brother with the eye patch would be next in line, I would think. Because,
that would be crazy. Yeah.
As of now, Aegon doesn't have his son anymore, and it wouldn't look good on their side if they made a daughter the queen, because that would pretty much be saying, oh yeah, Rhaenyra
should have been queen. Yeah. Okay, so it wouldn't go back to Rhaenyra. They would just be like, no, Aemond, go ahead.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I guess technically, like, I guess if he was killed by the Blacks and the Blacks were able to take over, then obviously it'd be Rhaenyra's queen.
Right.
But if Aegon...
But like if Team Green kept going, Aegon would be the actual... Or Aemond. Aemond would be the successor.
Their names are way too similar. Freaking Targaryen names, they all sound the same.
It's great for jogging the memory and like actually like remembering these things though, because it's like the tiniest little spelling differences. I'm like, I feel smart when I get the right name, down. Oh my gosh, amazing. Any other predictions for the next 3 episodes? How many episodes are even in season?
I think it's 8 episodes per season right now.
Oh my god, it's almost over.
Ooh, yeah. So tonight, as of when we're filming this, tonight will be episode 4. So yeah, we'll be halfway through the season.
Oh my gosh. I cannot wait. But also I don't want it to be over because it's getting really good. Like it hasn't let up like yet. So
yeah, season 1 I think was very necessary in like giving all that background information so that you understand like how the family is divided and like the conflict and all of that. But like season 1, you have a lot of time jumps and like that kind of stuff. So it didn't, I think, flow particularly well. While season 2, we're really getting into the action. Even like episode 1, we really like jumped into it.
Yes, exactly. It gave us what we were kind of begging for. I do appreciate the history and the like setting the stage with season 1. The funniest thing for me for season 1 with all the time jumping is that like Kristen Cole never aged. They used the exact same actor from when Rhaenyra was a child to be fair, they did that with Daemon too, but at least Daemon kind of looked different. But Kristen Cole didn't even get like a haircut.
Yeah, with Daemon it also makes sense because like
he was already older.
Yeah, he was already older, which is gross, but like, Kristen Cole would have been around Rhaenyra's age. So like technically they probably should have grabbed like 2 different actors, which is also weird because like that they didn't do that because the Kingsguard that Rhaenyra ends up being with something strong, I can't remember his first name, like they used 2 different actors for him.
So
I don't know why they made that decision with Kristen Cole.
This is another reason why Kristen Cole is my least favorite character on House of Dragon. I want him to die, but I do realize that when some character annoys you, that's a good character. Like when you just curse him out all the time, that's a good character. He's getting under your butt. He's like hitting all the nerves. Who's your least favorite character and your favorite character so far
Ooh,
in House of Dragon?
okay. That's hard because honestly, my favorites are both Rhaenyra and Alicent in that I like that they're both women with agency and that they have like very different views of like what would be best for the kingdom and are foils to each other. As far as actually, Damon and not not Aegon, Aemon are two. Just because I love like absolutely nuts characters, I'm just like the let's just watch this. Like you guys are crazy, and that's just great TV. As far as least favorite, that's kind of hard in that there's a maybe Kristen Cole just because he's so like wishy-washy and dumb. Like Aegon, like I think like even though like he's not likable at all, he is very fun to watch, and I think the actor's having like a great time with him and doing an excellent job. Um yeah, it's hard to name like a least favorite, I guess, besides Kristen Cole.
Yeah, I just Kristen Cole is just a pile of human trash. Like he has so much going for him technically, but because he has such a big ego and he is so sensitive, he ends up screwing the people who literally could help him be more powerful. Because I mean, even though Aegon kind of helps him become hand and everything, it's just like Aegon is not helpful nor stable the way Alicent and Rhaenyra are, you know. So, but it's interesting how your favorites, Alicent and Rhaenyra, they do complement Daemon and oh god, I'm blanking on the other person you said. Daemon and
Aemon?
Aemon. Yes, I feel like they complement each other very well in the like you have the super stable strategic people and then you have the unstable I can't predict whatever they're going to do. Like it's so wild and opposites that it's beautiful. Those four definitely need to stay alive because they move the plot completely.
Yeah.
It's so
Here's
good.
to hoping.
Here's the hoping. That was amazing. Thank you so much for recapping season 2 episode 1 to 3 with me. This has been so much fun and I cannot
Yes.
wait for episode, was it 3 4 episode
Fours
4 tonight.
tonight.
Oh
Yeah,
my
thank you so much
gosh.
for having me.
Yeah, this has been so cool and I cannot wait to see where we're going, and also really sad that it's going to be ending soon because
Yeah,
I feel like it's going to be
same.
years until episode or season 3 comes out. So
Yeah, I'll probably be like 2 years would be my guess. One or two.
no, no, like what am I going to watch in between then? Because you know I'm barely a fantasy person, but when I get into fantasy, it's as important to me as reality TV. So
I love that.
I love it so much. Well, thank you again, Jackie. And the people can find you where online?
Yeah, so I my Instagram is under my writer's name. That's kind of the only place that I am online. So yeah, I guess that would be it.
Yeah, if you want more like books insights, definitely very fantasy heavy on your account. Like you are the expert, honestly. Any teasers for like your writings, or we're still under wraps and all that? Because I
Um
remember from our previous episodes, yeah,
Yeah,
you gave a lot good.
so yeah, pretty much the current book I am working on right now is a fantasy book that has to do with Celtic mythology. It's pretty much a Kingsguard is trying to pretty much regain her place in her kingdom. Meanwhile, an assassin is going after her, and a handmaid is holding some very pivotal information that could turn the tides of a war. So these three characters could be each other's greatest allies, or they could be each other's greatest enemies.
Oh my God, that sounds so good. It's like
Thank
the
you.
next like must read and must watch, maybe? Do we have a working title at all? Or we're still
Yeah, as of right now, and titles, like if they do go through publication, that kind of stuff, do tend to get changed. But as of right now, it's called The Conspiracy of Crows.
oh, exciting. That
I
sounds so
like
good.
alliteration.
I love it. And that's a really good for me to remember too. So, Conspiracy of Crows out eventually.
Yeah. I almost was like, oh, A Feast of Crows. And I was like, wait a minute, that's Game of Thrones book 4.
Oh wait, is it? Oh, I was just thinking like, oh, are we eating the crows? Like,
No, A Feast of Crows, that's the fourth Game of Thrones book, which I think is a great title. I would also say that it is unfortunately the weakest book in the series, in my personal point of view.
wow.
But pretty much is just pretty much saying like all these people are dying. They are a feast for the crows.
So sick. That's so George though. Would you definitely recommend reading the books though?
Oh,
Or is the
absolutely.
okay, okay.
Yeah, and it's also, I found it really helpful. So I had watched, I think, the first 2 or 3 seasons. I think it was just the first 2 seasons before I read the books. Because I got into Game of Thrones, I think around either 8th grade, or maybe it was the first, or not
Oh,
8th grade. Sorry, that no, that'd be a little bit young. No. It was either my last year of high school or my first year of college. So I found it was helpful to watch a little bit of it first, because then you can, since there's so many characters and so many names, it's helpful to have a face to match to the name when
yeah.
you're reading. But yeah, I highly recommend all the books. I refuse to reread them though until we have an actual release date for The Winds of Winter, which we've been waiting for over 10 years now. So once
That's
we have
embarrassing.
George R. R. Martin, like, I think it's really, he just has like so many plots and so many characters. And now with like Winds of Winter and Song of Spring, which is supposedly will be the next book after that, I think he's having issues like collapsing down all of those plots and like tying them up and making them come together, which is my guess for why it's taken so long to get these books out. But we'll see. We'll see. Or
We'll see.
maybe someone else is gonna have to finish the series for him.
No. Oh my
I
God,
hope
that would be
not. I want
horrible.
him to finish it. There's a famous series. There was also an Amazon TV show for it called The Wheel of Time, and very famously, that author unfortunately passed away before the last few books were out. So another fantasy author powerhouse, Brandon Sanderson, finished those
Mm.
books. So I always make the joke that Brandon Sanderson is going to finish Game of Thrones, but he Brandon Sanderson would be a terrible match for that. Personally, he's not, I mean, he will write like tragedies and like that kind of stuff, but he doesn't have like the same level of like sex and violence as George R. R. Martin, like at all.
Okay.
So like
You need
he
to
would
add a
be,
little bit more crazy to him.
yeah,
Okay.
and yeah, like that just wouldn't be Brandon Sanderson's writing style. But I think people who
No.
are familiar with both of their books is just like, no, Brandon Sanderson should not finish Game of Thrones. I just think it's funny though.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, no, it'd have to be somebody up to par, because otherwise, if you mess it up, I feel like George R. R. Martin would like haunt the guy or woman who like tries to finish his series and like makes it horrible. I mean, I'm surprised that he signed on to kind of work with House of Dragon after the ending of Game of Thrones, to be honest. I mean, of course, it's probably a boatload of money and it's your legacy and everything, but the way they screwed up the ending, at least for me and like probably a lot of fans, we kind of were like, what's going on here? But you know, I feel like he's going to get it done. 10 years, come on. Or at least he has a lot of source material for someone to put
true.
it together afterwards, you know, so not
Yeah.
creating new plot and everything. So, oh wow. Okay, maybe I'll
Like
like
Crows
download an audiobook or
again.
something to get started. Because you know me, like with big books, it's just kind of like nervous. But then with, you know, the other, what did I just read? Iron Flame and the other one. I went
Oh
through that
yeah.
so fast. Ugh, so good.
Yeah, yeah. In Game of Thrones, I would say overall, like the series has like really, really good pacing.
Okay.
One of the books, I think it actually might have just been Feast for Crows, actually. I read in like 3 days, over summer.
Oh wow.
Yeah, yeah. Well, for Feast of Crows, I was just like that one, that and the subsequent book, Dance of Dragons. They have so many point of view characters that George R. R. Martin decided to pretty much split the two books. So you have like one set of characters in Feast for Crows, and then you have the other set of characters who are, I would say, the more interesting characters, their point of views in Dance of Dragons. So like besides like Bernice, I think was like the only point of view character I really cared about in Feast for Crows. So I was just like, okay, let's just get through this one and move on to Dance of Dragons.
Got it. Okay. So some are just like a quick, let's just skim through it, but we need to know kind of like the history of it, but get to the real good stuff in like the next book. And so, okay. Interesting. Well, I'll report back. I'll get book one and see if I'm able to like survive all of all of the
Yeah.
characters and world building. And I will probably have the same reaction I had with the Harry Potter, because I read all the Harry Potter books and then the movies came out, and I ended up being disappointed in the movies because they cut out so many big things. So maybe I'll have that reaction, because now with the books I'll be like, I know too much now. Like,
But yeah,
but
let
we'll
me know
see.
how you like them.
Yeah, definitely, because this is too good. I know I'm going to be like my heart's gonna be like, ugh, I can't believe it when it all ends, and I can't wait 2 years, so I'm gonna have to fill it up with something. So awesome, great recommendations. I will be getting onto that and let you know. And thank you guys for tuning in to another episode of Bad Millennial. Even if you weren't a fan of House of Dragon, I hope you are now. Like, I'm so excited. Jackie, I want to like invite you personally to come back to recap the next 3-4 episodes with us.
Ooh,
If you
yeah.
can. Yeah, because this has been too good. And I know we have so much more to talk about when these next 4 episodes come out. So, and I'm excited to watch the new episode tonight. So,
Same.
yes.
But yeah,
Amazing.
thank you so much.
Thanks for tuning in to this week's episode of Bad Millennial. If you like this episode, make sure to leave a rating and a review and subscribe so you never miss an episode. Got a question you want me to answer in the future? Leave a voice message on Spotify, DM, and follow me at Bad Millennial Pod on Instagram, and tweet me on Twitter at _Bad Millennial_ for even more relatable millennial content.